49,000 vehicles, which is the cap on Chinese electric vehicle.
Everyone tells you that a 100% tariff wall is the end of the story for Chinese EVs in North America. Common sense says, game over, right? But honestly, that tariff wall is exactly why BYD is about to take over the Canadian market. Today, let's talk about the truth that nobody wants to admit. While the media is screaming about a trade war, the reality on the ground is a carefully orchestrated trade swap that has already opened the back door to the North American fortress. We're looking at a master class in geopolitical maneuvering, where lobster and canola oil are being traded for high-tech batteries and software. You know, most people see a ban. I see a filter. And BYD? They just passed through it. So, here is the kicker. On January 16th, 2026, the narrative flipped. The Canadian Prime Minister announced a policy shift that took tariffs from a punitive 106.1% all the way down to just 6.1% for a specific quota of vehicles. Why? Why would they do that? It is not out of kindness. It is because Canada is trapped. They have a target to ban combustion engines by 2035, but their local inflation is out of control. They simply cannot build affordable EVs fast enough. So, they made a deal. Canada drops the tariff for 49,000 Chinese cars a year, and in exchange, China drops tariffs on Canadian canola and lobster. It is a classic agriculture for tech swap. For BYD, this quota of 49,000 cars isn't a limit. It is a golden ticket. It allows them to enter the market without a price war, creating a controlled competition environment that actually protects them from immediate backlash. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but BYD is still an outsider. Actually, not really. This is where their long game strategy gets terrifyingly brilliant. BYD didn't just show up yesterday. They have been in Canada since 2013. They have a facility in Newmarket, Ontario, assembling electric buses. Why does this matter? Because when the political heat turned up, BYD could point to that factory and say, look, we are not just importers, we are local employers. That bus factory was their strategic anchor. It allowed them to navigate the lobbying process with the Canadian Ministry of Finance and Transport Canada way more effectively than any other Chinese brand. While others were panicking about tariffs, BYD was using their existing local footprint to negotiate this quota system. They essentially pre-installed a Trojan horse 10 years ago, and now the gates are open. Let's talk about the cars, because this is where the market disruption happens. Canada has an inflation problem. A regular EV costs over 40,000 Canadian dollars. It is too expensive for normal people. Enter the BYD Seagull and Dolphin. Even with shipping and logistics, the Seagull is landing at a price point between 22,000 and 25,000 Canadian dollars. That is nearly half the price of the competition. You know, this isn't just selling a car. It is solving a political problem for the Canadian government. By offering the Seagull, BYD is helping the government meet its mandate that 50% of new cars must be affordable. They are positioning their product as the solution to the cost of living crisis. And do not overlook the Shark pickup truck. Canada is huge, rural, and cold. The Shark is a plug-in hybrid with massive range. And here is the killer feature: V2L technology. It can power your house during an ice storm blackout. That is an emotional selling point that hits hard in the Canadian suburbs. But here's the thing about Canada. It gets cold. Like, really cold. Minus 30 degrees Celsius, cold. And historically, LFP batteries, which BYD uses, are terrible in the cold. This was the biggest argument against them. However, BYD rolled out their second-generation blade battery. They are using a nano-ceramic coating and a pulse heating system that keeps the battery active even in deep freezes. They integrated a high-efficiency heat pump that recycles waste heat from the motor to warm the cabin. This isn't just a spec sheet update. It is a survival requirement. By solving the winter anxiety, they removed the last logical reason for a Canadian consumer to say no. They turned their biggest technical weakness into a marketing flex. Speaking of battery technology, understanding the specific engineering behind these cold weather breakthroughs is crucial if you are an investor or an engineer. I actually found a deep dive report called BYD 2026 Solid State and Blade Battery Report. It breaks down the sulfide, electrolyte parameters, and the roadmap for their solid-state commercialization by 2027. Honestly, this data is usually behind a paywall, costing $49 USD. But right now you can get it for $0. If you want to see the technical comparison between BYD, CATL, and Toyota, just enter $0 in the price box. It is a limited time free download, and for anyone tracking the supply chain, it is an absolute gold mine. Go grab it before they put the price tag back on. Moving beyond just selling cars to families, BYD is playing a smarter game with their sub-brand, Linghui. They are targeting the B2B market, Uber drivers, taxis, and corporate fleets. Why? Because Uber drivers put high mileage on cars, and they are highly visible. If a passenger sits in a BYD Uber and realizes, hey, this is nice, and the driver says he saves $500 a month on gas, that is word-of-mouth marketing you cannot buy. On the infrastructure side, they are not fighting the current. They are adopting the NACS charging standard, the Tesla standard, right out of the box for 26 models. They are also deploying their own hypercharging hubs with solar storage. They are building an ecosystem where they are the energy provider, not just the car seller. Now, let's look at the defensive strategy. How does BYD stop the Canadian government from changing its mind and banning them later? They use what I call the poison pill defense. They are embedding themselves into the Canadian economy. BYD is currently evaluating battery material bases in Halifax and looking at nickel mining projects in Ontario. By sourcing raw materials locally, they become a customer of Canada's mining industry. If the government tries to kick them out in 3 years, they aren't just hurting a Chinese company, they are hurting Canadian miners and Canadian factory workers. They are creating a web of economic dependency that makes them too local to fail. It is brilliant. They are trading market access for supply chain integration. But, and this is a huge but, there is a storm cloud on the horizon. It is called the USMCA review in July 2026. The United States is watching this very closely. If BYD becomes too successful in Canada, Washington might see it as a backdoor entry into the US market and pressure Canada to close the loophole. This is the sword of Damocles hanging over their head. That is why BYD is rushing to form joint ventures with Canadian giants like Magna or Linamar. They need a political shield. They need powerful Canadian corporations to lobby on their behalf when the Americans come knocking. It is a race against time to build these alliances before the trade agreement review kicks in. So, what is the big takeaway here? BYD's entry into Canada is not just about selling 50,000 cars. It is a global laboratory. They are testing how to penetrate a G7 nation that is hostile politically, but needy economically. They are proving that if you can solve a country's inflation and climate problems, the political doors will open, even if just a crack. Canada is the testing ground for their entire Western strategy. If they can make it work in the freezing cold of Ontario, facing US pressure, they can make it work anywhere. Subscribe to master the world's fastest moving tech market before your competitors do.